Okay, guys, welcome back to patch notes. I know I'm late. Move the there. Ah, that's better. I know I'm late. I have not covered this on time at all, but give me ads. I'm gonna go over skins a little bit really quick, not for too long. Nemesis skin looks sick. I love it. Don't like EGB AMC. I hate AMC. This Zeus skin is phenomenal. That's all I'm gonna say. As for the rest, I don't really care for any of them. I mean the remodels are the redos are cool. They're really good. Pepper skin's fine, I guess. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, let's just get into the real stuff. Matchmaking. They're making. You guys probably can't even. I can't. You guys probably. Oh well, I'll just read. Matchmaking. They're undergoing significant adjustments in patch 4.5. So basically, they're doing a bunch of matchmaking. I don't really want to go too in depth with it. It's pretty in depth. I think Duke's Law talks about it pretty decently. Go to him. Auto builds are now going to sell starters, which is good. They're finally fixing the scoreboard issue where sometimes you would be able to see builds and stuff like that. Console VGS, don't care. Okay, this is something that people keep bitching about, and it's the new player experience adjustments. Okay, people, stop bitching. Stop being entitled. I don't give a fuck that I don't get these new stuff. This is new stuff for new players. That's a good thing. This is going to bring new players into Smite. It's going to incentivize new players to grind up and learn the game. This is a positive thing. People are just moaning and whining about, oh, I had to pay for all this. Shut the fuck up. It doesn't matter. This is a positive thing. It is. It's dumb that people are complaining about this. They're also making it easier to hit level 30. And then they're making it a little bit harder to get to 50, kind of balance out all that. And they're updating training quests. So big. I don't really know exactly what, but stuff like that. They're incentivizing new players to join the game, which is a completely positive thing. That means more players. That means better matchmaking. That means larger projects that Smite can undertake and more revenue for high res to actually work on the game. I think this is a great deal. Positive. People stop complaining because they didn't get their 50% off any skin coupon. Go fuck yourself. Console bug fixes, blah blah blah. General bug, don't care about console. Sorry. General bug fixes. Large amount of text issues. I wish they would say which ones, because that would be cool. An issue where gods would appear as rotation. Oh, owned god. Oh, yeah. Like, I would own Scotty, and it would say Scotty's in rotation. So that's going to go away. I guess that's cool. I didn't really care. It didn't bother me, but it's whatever. This is really important. They're fixing an issue where objective healths would not show. If you ever watch me stream, you know I complain that T1 towers mostly, but sometimes T2 towers, not so much Phoenixes, but T1 and T2 towers would not show their health bar, except above the structure and not actually where it's supposed to be on my UI. And that was really bothersome because, like, if I needed to know, oh, I need 3 more autos, I can take this tower, or if I had no idea and I just had to run away because I didn't know if I could take it. That's really, really important that they're fixing an issue where hovering over an item at the lowest tier. Yeah, I never had this problem, but I know some people that did. So I mean, it's whatever. Bug fixes are nice. I guess this goes for Jingwei. I don't know who else would be affected by this. Whatever. If you fly over a tower, you're no longer getting caught. New stuff. Mech level tech for the level up effect. Birthday cake pedestal. Poopy jump stamps. I guess the stupid, but whatever. And a baby drone wards. Cool. A bunch of new chest stuff. I'm not going into all this. I want to get to the real stuff, the balancing. So they say, as Season 4 continues, we have gotten to the point where players are starting to really understand the map and how to gain a lead from it. Even so, players are struggling to find opportunities to end the game. The Phoenix Sieges are being very difficult even with a substantial lead. Comeback potential is important, but we shouldn't feel like the lead build-up through the game is unimportant. Fire Giant buff is getting an increase to bonus structure damage it provides. Teams who secure this boss objective will have a stronger advantage when it comes time to siege the enemy base. This patch is also buffering T1 towers. Early game drives have had a bit too much success, and this change is targeted to increase the risk of early. The Fire Giant buff is increasing from 20% of structures to 25%. An enhanced fire giant buff is going from 20% to 30%. That's cool. And then T1 towers are going to get 15 more power. This is good. I really like the tower buff especially. My only concern is I hope it doesn't affect the rate at which archers die. Not just archers, but minions die. That could be important. Item balance. This is some interesting things. Mostly positive, but we'll get into some negatives. Malice has been redesigned to have more synergy with abilities. However, the passive was limited and confusing. With this update, we are adjusting the passive ability of Malice, again, making it link between crits and abilities as clear as possible. The old Malice sucked. It didn't work. So they're changing it to where successful critical hits, you will now deal 35% additional damage from abilities for the next 3 seconds. I don't think this is very good. I don't. I originally thought, I didn't realize it was only abilities. I thought everything was 35% more damage, which I thought was busted as fuck. But it's not. It's just abilities. So, like, in all honesty, like for example, my buddy Shuyan was like, well, what about like an Uller? Could he use this? So you'd have to be in either bow or axe stance, regardless, get a crit, then have to axe combo them. And that's just not how you'd want to play that god. So I think this is very restricted to certain gods. I think maybe Humbats could use this, maybe if he's going single crit though. I still feel like Deathbringer's way better, because this is just kind of a cumbersome item now. And when you're playing cumbersome, it's not smooth, it's not easy. Like Hydra's Lamont, it's smooth, it's very easy to get it off. You don't have to really think about it. You just AA cancel between abilities. This item, it's like you'd have to save your abilities for after you get a crit, and you don't really want to be saving abilities. You want to just go in, at least let's say this for a jungle item, you want to go in and burst. You don't want to auto, get a crit, then burn them. No. You want to just burst them. And as for an ADC, again, I don't know if this is really that useful. I could be totally wrong. I feel like maybe Nazak can make use out of this because you get Sash, crit, and then ult. And the ult will deal more. But I don't know. This is a really, really weird item. Very odd. I don't think any auto attack gods make use out of this. And most ability-based gods don't make use of crit. So it's a really weird item. I don't like it at all. So next we have Midgardian Mail. This is a bonus. It's a positive thing, I guess. An effect that slows movement speed and attack speed is useful, but 30% chance to trigger made it powerful. Its power highly variable and difficult to rely on. We're removing the RNG and streamlining the effect to always trigger. I like that. It's good. So the passive says, when hit by a basic attack, an enemy has their movement speed and attack speed. When hit by a basic attack, that enemy that fired the basic attack has their movement speed and attack speed reduced by 15% for 2 seconds. It could stack up to 2 times for 30% for 2. It might be too. That's my issue, because Midgardian was already good, and now it's just more efficient. So I don't know how I like that. I mean, I like that they streamlined it. It's definitely not RNG focused now, and that's good. I hate RNG. RNG is bullshit. They might have to work around some balancing, whether it's increasing cost or maybe decreasing the slow to maybe 25%. I don't know. I feel like it might be a little too strong, but we'll see how it goes. It could be fine. Witchblade. Witchblade. This item is stretched too thin between offense and defense. There is no clear home, and very few gods feel comfortable picking up this counter item. We are increasing the defensive stats to make it a clear option for Warriors or Guardians that build it, that are looking specifically to defend against attack speed focused gods. They increase the health by 100, from 100 to 200. I feel like maybe this could be picked on like a Bellona, or maybe even an Arachne who are playing counter ADC roles. Because you're seeing a lot of Arachne getting picked up right now. The reason she's played defensively is because she's a counter ADC. That's her idea. You throw the spiders, they can absorb a couple autos, and you can wrap and burn them really, really fast. And then again, of course, Bellona, because that's what she is. She's a counter ADC. But even then, I don't really think this item's good. Much as I want it to be good, I don't think it's just a niche item. It could fit into certain roles. Like I said, some counter ADC type gods like Bellona, maybe Nim, but I feel like Nim's better off just building some more power and burning people. We'll see how it goes, but I don't really think the buff's that big. But at the same time, the item did need a buff, and I think that's a reasonable buff. They might have to buff it a little bit more, but I think an extra 100 health is a big deal. Crusher! Crusher's new passive has been quite popular, but it lacks additional feedback to notify players that they are hit. There is now an effects added for when you were hit by. Now you know whenever you're bleeding from Crusher. Okay, sorry about that. It didn't want to come, but yeah. You now you can see when you're hit by Crusher. The fact that Crusher didn't get nerfed is kind of dumb. The item's broken. Like regardless of its its passive is whatever. Regardless of the passive, the item's really 20% attack speed, 15 pin, 30 power. It's a dumb item. It's really good. It's picked up on both hunters and assassins right now. Needs to be nerfed. Archival. Hunters have been struggling, especially in the early game. The next few changes are specifically aimed at hunters early game. So Archival's gonna go from stacking 7 power to 10 power. So instead of 21 max, it's gonna have 30 max. This item is still shit. And the reason this item's shit is because why would I play Archival when I could spend a little bit more money and get Crusher, which is just a far superior item. Far superior item. At the same time, Aussie's also getting buffed, so Archival's really doesn't seem worth it to me. Maybe on like Arachnes. Like I said, Arachnes getting picked up a little bit more. I could see this on Arachnes. I could see this on Nemesis for some early game power. But at the same time, when Crusher is what it is, I don't see Archival getting picked up. Maybe if they increase Crusher's gold by 100 or 200, make it more of a mid to late game item, then Archival will actually be really good. But as of right now, Crusher's just way more dominant. They're also changing Silver Branch Bro. It has new passive, and for every basic attack, you get 5% attack speed. This stacks for 3 seconds. It can stack to 6 times, so you can get 30% attack speed on top of the additional 25% attack speed that the item has. You get 55% attack speed out of this item. I still don't think it's good. At the same time, you could just get Odysseo's bow and get 40% attack speed consistently, not have to stack it, and it would also give you bonus damage. I don't think. I could be totally wrong. Could be, but I don't think this item's worth it. Aussie has long been the razor's edge between complete dominance and totally unviable. The physical penetration was reduced on Aussie, making it more consistent with other penetration items. This change was great for consistency reasons, but it brought Aussie's power to a point where the item was no longer valid. When you're increasing the attack speed on an item, increase its power without putting it back in a spot where it feels overpowered. So they gave it 5 extra attack speed. That's a big deal. This item, 25% attack speed for 1700 gold with 10 pen and a fuck ton of lifesteal. Aussie's really strong. I don't agree with it at all. It's not that I don't agree with it, I just... It needed a buff, but I feel like 25% attack speed. I mean, that's an executioner level of attack speed. For super cheap. I don't know. That's a weird change to me. I guess hunters are maybe underperforming worse than I think they are. I still do well with them, but... Spiked Gauntlet's getting 5 physical power to help with early game. Basically, nobody's building Devos because trans. Or if they are building Devos, they're building it after already stacking a trans. So they're trying to make Spiked Gauntlet a little bit more viable of a start. And I think that's cool. Yeah, but I don't think it's good. Pointed Shuriken is getting an extra 200 gold decrease. They're trying to make crit viable, I guess, or at least they're trying to make crit an option. Right now, crit's not really an option. It's not bad, but it's really expensive and it's not quite that good. The only issue with this is that they're not also reducing Poison Star and Wind Demon's price, which is good. They shouldn't, because if they reduce both of those by 200, then crit would be OP. But at least for a price to, if you're looking at price to performance ratio. So that means that Poison Star and Wind Demon are increasing in price from the base point of Point Shuriken. I don't really care for this change. I don't think it's going to change anything. It's just a quality of life change, really. God balances. Aphrodite can now ult when knocked up. That makes sense, but it's also kind of dumb because you can't beads a knock up, so why can she ult? That's a bit inconsistent, and I don't really like that. Cabrakan has an adjusted targeter to better reflect the area damage of his ability. I like that a lot because Cabrakan ult for me always felt really odd. I could never tell if I was going to actually do damage or not. And they're fixing that, so that's cool. Chang'e increased persist time of the damaging area from 0.6 seconds to 0.7 seconds. Flower Dance. This fixes the dead zone where Chang'e would be able to miss an ability while standing still. It now goes 60 degrees. Those of you who don't know, Chang'e's Moonlight Dance would not go the full 360 and you would miss people standing there. And that won't happen anymore. That's awesome. Sobek. Predator Charge Prey. That's his one. Sobek's pluck no longer goes untargetable when plucking an enemy. He instead gains player pass-through, allows him to be hit by enemies while he is getting ready to. This is a good thing. I don't give a fuck what pros say about immunity frames being skill-based. They're not. They're just confusing to new players and really, really frustrating. They shouldn't be a thing. They should, unless it's an ability like Aphrodite's or Chang'e's or Ravana's, who are in-kit ability like immunities, where it's everyone knows that Chang'e's 2 is an immunity frame and that it's meant to be an immunity. That's fine. But when you just have immunity frames on abilities that are already a stun, a throw, and does a lot of damage, and a scaling, it's stupid. You don't need an immunity frame on this. You didn't need an immunity frame on Ao Kuang's ultimate. It was not skilled. It was exploiting the game. That's how I see it. And pros just like to bitch because they can't pub stomp. Jake, of course they can still pub stomp, but I don't think immunity frames are skill based. I mean, obviously it takes skill to get the immunity frame off, but it's just like exploiting the game. That's all I see it as. Ao Kuang is one of the most consistently powerful gods in SMITE. He remains strong even through adjustments and through all Season 5 item changes for mages. We are decreasing the damage he deals. So the ranged throw of his dragon, reduced scaling 90 to 78. So from 15 per dragon to 13 per dragon. I like this a lot. This incentivizes Ao Kuang to actually use his dragons for attack speed. Not attack speed, but auto attacks. Basically, it makes it more viable to use his dragons for auto attacks than for throw. I like that because I always thought it was dumb that you could throw the dragons for basically the same damage. The autos. It makes him more of an all-in god, makes him a little bit more risky, a little bit more position. Like, you have to be focused on your position. You can't just shoot this anymore and do loads of damage. You actually have to position yourself now. It's great. Daji, the Nine-Tailed Fox, received some buffs recently that put her over the top. Yes, high res. She definitely is. The current meta and itemization especially favor her bursty style, so she is decreasing the power scaling of her 2 key abilities. This should lead Daji to feel more counterable and decreasing her one-shot potential. Physical scaling on her Tortured Blades, which is her 2? I think, yeah. Yes, no, yes. I don't know. I don't remember. I think it's her 2. Well, Tortured Blades. Decrease scaling from 20 to 14, 10 to 7 for each tick. So yes, this is her 2 wipes. So instead of having 10 scaling on each hit, you're only gonna have 7% scaling. Pretty significant change. And then Horrible Burns, which is 100% her 1. I know that for a fact. Decrease the physical power scaling of burst damage from 45 to 35. Weird. I mean, I think she needs the nerfs, but I don't know. It's very odd. Like, just how low the scaling is. I know it's because it also has a tick and a slow and shit, but like, it just feels like she doesn't. It like when you look at the numbers, it doesn't look like Daji should be doing damage, but she does. It's nuts. Daji's crazy. She needed to get nerfed. I think these are fine nerfs. We'll see how they work. I think these are definitely fine. Whoops. I don't know if that. Okay, it doesn't. Pull up Discord. God, I like rough. Why nobody tell me that, guys? Gotta let me know these things. Come on. Okay, we're gonna continue. Cucullin tends to be very powerful at high skill levels, but is quite balanced in other metrics. We're removing the perk that grants him access to abilities. This is kind of sad for me as a Cucullin player because at level 2 I can no longer have access to abilities. But I think that's fine. I think he needs it. It's definitely makes sense. So now when he transforms, Cucullin will no longer gain access to abilities he has not put a single point into, except for his 2, because it's part of his passive as he constant. Um, it's consistent. I can't complain about this patch because it makes it more consistent. Why should you have extra abilities just because you raged at level 2? I like this. It deserves to happen. It just hurts my feelings. I like Cucullin. It might actually kind of put him a little bit more down in the meta, just because his early breath is not what it wants. We'll see how he helped them. Discordia, Smite's newest mage, has been causing plenty of strife on the battleground. She is a well-rounded god that can deal decent damage at long range while also applying CC. The primary feature that led her to be slightly overtuned was safety, even through erratic behavior in short range that provides a large amount of evasiveness, and that Discordia can immediately go untargetable, then stealth herself and quickly regain her cooldowns. Limiting this to one ability should have quite an impact on her entire kit. So they're increasing the cooldown on erratic behavior by 2 seconds. Okay, next, the Goddess of Magic. Is that magic? Goddess of Magic? I don't remember. She's Goddess of something. I'm not saying that. I don't want to get a block. Goddess of Magic has often been outclassed by other mages. Her early lane clear is still one of the best in the game, but her utility abilities have started to fall short. We are decreasing the cooldown on Dispel Magic and her protective nature of Circle of Protection to help her specific utility skills stand out more. Additionally, we are allowing Circle of Protection to hit and heal harder early on, giving her ultimate more potency in the. That's actually really important because it's kind of ass. So they increased her movement speed by 5, which is good. I don't think she was one of the mages that got increased movement speed at the beginning of Season 5. Most mages did. She did not, I don't think. I might be wrong. But she got more movement speed, which is good. Really good. Dispel Magic gets a cooldown reduction of 2 seconds. I think that's good because that ability was kind of useless. And that it was never up, and when it was up, it wasn't useful. It was just very, very clunky ability. Circle of Protection increased max charge and damage, scaling from 1.5 to 2.5, 1.5 to 3.5 at each level. It is now going to start off at 2.5 and is still end at 3.5, so it gets a pretty significant scaling. The damage reduction from it went from 15 constant to starting at 15 and scaling up to 20% damage reduction. That's actually really big. 5% more damage reduction. Cool for her. Sun Wukong, the Monkey King, was a force to be reckoned with before, and after a few cooldown nerfs, fell out of favor. They're increasing the base damage on his cudgel from 80 to 240, and is now going to be 90 to 250, and they're also decreasing the cost from 50 to 90 to 50 to 70. I don't think this doesn't change anything. 10 damage is not going to make him viable, and the mana cost is kind of irrelevant because solo laners always have blue buff. This doesn't do anything. Wukong is still in a really bad place. Some help. Sad because he's one of my first favorite gods. Still not going to be good. Maybe you could play him now. He might, but he's bad. Vulcan. Vulcan has not really been underperformed, but also not overperformed. Pretty middle of the road right now. They are increasing the base damage on backfire from 80 to 240 to 90 to 250, which is actually the exact same thing to Kong. And then they're increasing the amount of damage that his cannon deals to marked targets from 10% to 15%. So it gets 5% more on a marked target. That's cool. It actually gets a significant increase in damage on backfire if they're marked. And then they're increasing the power scaling on the cannon to 35 to 40. I don't think I like that because the cannon is strong. I would have much preferred them buff an actual skill shot than a passive ability. People, I don't like that. There's skill involved. My only issue with the cannon. But I'm happy that Vulcan getting buffed. This might actually make him play it a little bit. I know he's actually getting picked up a tiny bit in the SPL. I want to say twice. I could be wrong, but I swear I remember him at least once. So this would be cool. Vulcan gets a little bit. I love Vulcan. Finally, oh, this makes me so happy. Oh, yes. Erlongshin has struggled to find an identity in Season 5. Death's Toll was a major source of sustain for Erlongshin, and with removal, he is struggling as a tank or damage dealer. They are increasing the power of his base kit so he can better utilize items to create these playstyles. Basic attack, increased progression scaling. It used to be 0.65, 0.65, 0.65, 1 to 0.8. Now 0.75, 0.75, 0.75, 1.1 to 0.9. So his autos are gonna hit harder, which is crazy. Increasing the cooldown reduction per basic attack of his 1 from 7.5 seconds to 1 second. Okay, again, this is kind of nutty because basic attack center god. And now the scaling of the pen is increased from 45 to 55, which is crazy because people wouldn't even level it. They would just get like 1 or 2 into the mink, some points in the 1, and then get the pen eventually when they need CC. Now it's actually going to damage as well. Prolonged Shin might be looking like a threat coming. Overall, I think this is some good solid patch notes. I like a lot of these changes. They're making very slight and small changes, which is what they need to do. If they keep patch notes up like this, I really feel like Smite is going to be in a much better place than it was in Season 4. I've loved the patch notes so far. They've had some questionable ones, but this is definitely a solid one. Very happy to see. Thanks, guys.